What's going on, everybody? I'm Aaliyah Michelle.
And I'm Purple.
And this is Cocktails and Convo with Purple.
And Lee. I did it that time. All right, so can we be transparent real quick?
Sure.
I'm so hungover.
Child. I'm not hungover. I just feel like I'm like on autopilot. Like I knew I had something to do today, but it was just kind of like getting out of bed. Everything was just like slow motion. Like,
yeah.
like putting my clothes on.
Anything I was supposed to do today, I'm going to go in the house. I'm going to eat, go in the house, and go back to sleep.
Yeah, I definitely want to eat. I'm hungry.
All right. So, any updates? What's going on with you?
Nothing much. Pretty much same old. Working, being a mom, that type of thing. I've been reading more, so I'm happy about that. That was something. Right now, I am reading Gabrielle Union's book. We're going to need something stronger.
Okay.
I did read her previous book, which was We're Going to Need More Wine. I really just like the title. That's what made me want to read it. But it was she is really good. Yeah, her last one was good. This one is pretty good so far. So
I said I was going to get back into books, but I haven't. It used to, for me, it was a thing I would do like at work when I had downtime, but recently I haven't had any downtime. It's just like go.
So something that I did find helpful that I was so against, audiobooks.
I'm so against audiobooks.
I was so against it until I heard Will Smith. Oh my God.
I read his book, and that was enough.
I read it, but like Will Smith is just such a good narrator. Like he's just such a good, I feel like he can't do no wrong in my eyes. And when he was like telling the story, and it's not just him reading the words, it's like everything that come with it around it. It's like he really put effort into it. So it was
it's his story.
I loved it. Like I listened to I read the book once, listened to the audiobook twice. And mind you, the book is thick as hell. So you gotta imagine the audiobook is like a good 16 hours. So I didn't listen to it in one setting, but it was like instead of me listening to music in the car, or I would literally just turn on his book. So I like it a lot. You just gotta have like the voice for it, because every audiobook is not gonna be as interesting. But
what like how do you listen to your audiobooks? What do you listen to it on?
It's an app. I think it might be an audiobook app. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's audio something. But it's an app on there, and they give you like free credits every month. So I just wait every month and get the free credit, and then do it like that.
All right. I have not picked up any chips this month.
No,
and I'm sticking. I feel like I have to stick to it at this point. I just be tired. I be so tired. I'm still trying to like recoup from last month. So.
Oh yeah, listen to your body, child. I was just talking about that.
Yeah, you was talking about that. I saw you tweet about that.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to call out. I'm not that tired, but I feel like once I start a trip is when I be like, I just like 4-day trips be feeling like a whole week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. All right, so who's going first? You want me to get into these topics?
Yeah, you can get into them.
All right, so I, in my profession, come across a lot of females that use dating apps, right? They be talking about Hinge and Tinder and Bumble, and it's just so many out there, right? And all I think about is the Tinder swindler. Have you?
I watched the Tinder swindler.
Oh my God!
But that, we can get into that later. But that shit was just like.
So anytime somebody mention a dating app, I just be like, oh no. Like I feel like I never really used the dating app because I feel like it's so many people out in this world. Like if you can't meet somebody in person and make a connection with them, how like.
I don't know. So like with dating apps, I feel like it's the same thing as social media. Anybody could be who they want to be on a dating app, because you don't have to disclose but so much information. You make a bio, you put a name, you put an age, you put in whatever you're looking for. I don't want to say all dating apps are bad. I'm not gonna lie. I was on a dating app years ago.
What dating app was you on?
It was Plenty of Fish. POF.
For Plenty of Fish.
And it was like, I don't know. I wasn't on there like, I personally don't think anybody should go in there with the aspect of they're going to find their husband. Has it happened? Can it happen? Yes. But that wasn't what I was on there for. I was just like, I was bored. I wasn't really on the scene like that. I hated going out at that time. So it was just like, let me just see. And it didn't do anything for me personally. It was just.
Did you meet anybody who like connected with? Or
no, I didn't connect with them. I did go out with one person. Okay. And it was just like, it was just fun. It was like they were cool. Like we was friends, but obviously like from conversation, us going out and being around each other, I feel like that's all it was ever going to be. It wasn't nothing like oh my God, I think I met my soulmate. It was like, oh, this nigga cool.
So the question that we posed on our Instagram was, do you or have you been out with someone from a dating app? If so, tell us about your experience. If not, why? So
Go ahead. Because I just thought about something.
What?
So I didn't meet this. So I got to know this person from being on a dating app, but I knew about him prior. Like I saw him before, but you know him.
I know him.
Yeah. So this was during COVID when I talked to this person, and you know who I'm talking about. You just gotta think about it. I don't really want to say his name on this podcast.
Yeah, definitely don't say his name. But wait, how do I know him?
You was around him.
I was around him.
We went to a hookah place, and he brought his cousin.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
I definitely
So,
know you're talking about.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, what was that? That wasn't POF. Facebook dating.
Oh, I remember.
That's
so
okay.
Remember when we did the thing
When we was experimenting on dating.
All right, so 59% said yes, they have or do the whole dating app thing, and 41% said no. And then, so for our wives, somebody said yes, he is actually my current boyfriend, and we've been dating since 2020, pre-COVID.
That's lit.
Yeah, that's definitely lit. Somebody else said about 12 to 13 years ago, I unfortunately had a 2-year run, dealt with a multitude of wild older women and a bunch of ratchet young chicks.
What? I just want to know what was in his search bar. Like, what were you looking for?
Stories are too lengthy to text, but yeah, dark fun days.
Okay.
Somebody said if I was single, I would try it out. I don't see anything wrong with it. I just can't. I'm a very like catch your vibes, feel your energy kind of person.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I would be against it, but I wouldn't spend too much time on a dating app. Like if I met somebody on a dating app, we would have to meet in person like very soon. See, I can't just stay on the dating app because I feel like I'll lose interest.
I don't know. It took me like some phone conversations to meet in person because I just feel like, yeah, we could catch a vibe, whatever, when we are around each other, but also like I'm not always the type of person that like to be on the phone. I'm more like a texter, maybe a FaceTimer. I'm not the person that's going. First of all, I hate holding the phone up to my ear. That's one thing.
Oh yeah, no, who does that?
I hate holding the phone up to my ear. I'll have my AirPods in and put my phone somewhere, and then like I like to look at you because if we're having an in-depth conversation, I want to see your face.
Oh, so you want FaceTime?
Yeah, I like FaceTime. Okay. So yeah, I want to talk to you on the phone and stuff first, and then be around you and see how the vibe is. But I don't think dating apps are necessarily a negative thing because sometimes even when you catch a vibe with somebody in person, you might not. They could be living a whole double fucking life. So it's like, you know, I mean, it's a catch-22 with it.
All right, what's your topic? What's your next topic?
All right, so because it is Black History Month, y'all, I was trying to find some interesting stuff to talk about. But one thing that made me come up with this topic was talking to my son. So my question is, what was your first introduction to Black history? And if it was in school, was it a good experience?
It was definitely in school. And it was like young, probably like Murray age. As far as was it a good experience? I feel like when it was introduced, I really didn't understand the like depth of it. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really, I didn't really find it important. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't find it important. I just felt like it was just another subject. Like, yeah. You know, science, like math.
Exactly.
Today's this month is Black History Month. I'm going to do a project on somebody who did something substantial in history, but it was just like it wasn't really as important to me as it is now. Yeah. One of the things, so on Instagram there is a Black Flight Attendant USA page that I follow, and I think that doing what I do and knowing the history of my occupation definitely like is a big thing in Black history, because there was once a time where being a Black flight attendant was not a thing.
Yeah.
I have an aunt, shout out to my aunt Lois, rest in peace, but she was a flight attendant back in like the 80s. And I talked to her daughter about, you know, the whole controversy of being a Black flight attendant, and it was wild. Like positions you would, because within a flight attendant, there's different things that you do on the plane, and you will always get the bottom of the barrel positions. You will always get the, you know, not being in the limelight, not really being seen by passenger positions. So it definitely, Black History Month definitely plays a bigger part in my life now than it did when I was first introduced.
For sure.
Yeah. So when was you introduced to Black History Month?
As far as I can remember, it was in school. And it was like the worst experience, because I just feel like, I don't know why a lot of educators equate the most important parts of Black history, and the first thing they want to show us is slavery. Like, y'all could have showed us anything else. Like, and I feel like even like further in school, it's like all you hear is Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King. I feel like
Malcolm X.
Yeah, Malcolm X. Yeah, all these people. Rosa sat on the bus. All right, y'all, February over. Like, it's just like, all right, what else? But like my first introduction to Black history was sitting in the classroom, and the teacher turned on Roots, and that was like we watched Roots.
How old were you?
I had to be like maybe 7 or 8.
And y'all was watching.
We was watching Roots.
Wow.
Our teacher, I don't really know what her ethnicity was. I think she was like Indian or something. So she didn't really know much probably about Black history other than the part that everybody seemed to talk about, which is slavery. She turned on Roots, and that was it. Like, we ain't do a project. I don't remember nothing about it. It was just like, all right. And it made me not really want to learn nothing about Black history, even like going forward in the years to come. Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King. Y'all want to watch Martin and Me? My friend Martin. Like, I don't like, who else do we have besides Martin Luther King? Like,
and the fact that there's so many other activists and people who made a difference in history that are Black that we don't even, like, we never talked about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that, like, I didn't find out until I was damn near adult.
Yeah.
So I think, but let's not blame it. We can't really blame it on the teachers per se, because they have a curriculum. They have a certain set of things that they have to teach, and they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
So it's more the school district and things like that that plays a part with that. All right. So my next one is there such thing as disclosing too much information when dating?
Yes.
Okay. Elaborate.
I would specify and say maybe like the first date. Like, I don't need your whole like life story. I feel like it's whatever you're comfortable enough disclosing. But there is some stuff where I'm just like, bro, like,
it's a bit much.
Maybe you could have waited. But I was on a date. I don't know how long ago this was, but he felt the need to tell me how he burnt this girl. And
burnt her, like gave her an STD. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
I was just like,
this was a first date?
This is a first date.
Oh, okay.
Met up for like happy hour drinks or whatever. And he was just like, how he told me how we were talking about past experiences while we broke up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have rather him just say he cheated and left it at that. He like, yeah, cheated. She caught this, that, third. And I'm just like, like, my face probably told it all, but I just kept quiet. But I'm just like, you didn't need to tell me that. Like, I just felt like a simple, we didn't work out because I cheated would have sufficed. But I didn't know.
Was there a second date?
No.
Oh.
Not a second date, no more phone calls, text messages, nothing. I didn't feel the need.
Ghosted him?
I didn't ghost him.
Did you tell him like, that's not it?
I just said, yeah, I'm cool. I wasn't with it after that. Like, I'm not, listen, shit happens. So I'm not sitting, but it's like you knowingly passed this STD, and I'm just like, bro, you told me this. Like, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, that's so interesting. No, that's nasty. Like, yeah. I don't like.
Wait, he knowingly passed it? Like,
so this is what
knew.
This is the story. I hope he don't follow me on that.
If you do it well.
So basically, he cheated.
Mm-hmm.
He cheated with a girl that he knew had a boyfriend.
Okay.
And what I'm guessing happened is maybe the boyfriend of the girlfriend that he was cheating with had
gave
something,
it to
gave
her,
it to her, who gave it to
she
him.
gave it to him.
He knew he had it, but he didn't want to turn his girlfriend down because she would probably be like, "Oh well, why we ain't had sex the X amount of time?" So he still slept with her.
It's 2 weeks. If it's curable, it's 2 weeks.
Still slept with her. She ends up catching it, and I guess that's when he had to come clean about it. But
Wow.
yeah, nasty.
See, I was more talking about like your whereabouts and whether or not you're dating other people. To tell somebody about an STD is wild, but
that story was just like, yeah. I'm glad you said it, but now I know you're nasty. But no.
So I think that I've learned now that there is a such thing as giving too much information when you're dating.
So elaborate.
All right.
And
so
are we talking about exclusively dating, or are we just talking about like just dating someone?
Just dating someone.
Oh, yeah.
I am a very I would think I'm a very open and honest person. And I'm one of them people, I feel like if you omit the truth, it's a form of lying.
Very much so.
So in the past, I've let it be known, like if I'm dating other people, or like if a guy that I'm dating hits me up and asks me what I'm doing, I'm not going to say I'm chilling if I'm really out with somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned that that's probably not the way to go. It's not necessary to elaborate a bunch when you're openly dating.
Mm-hmm.
Only because I've noticed that the guys that I date aren't as open with their other activities. So why should I be, right?
Yeah.
But again, it feels like a form of lying. So I was talking to a friend and we was talking about where you draw that line on what you tell someone you're dating and what you don't tell them.
So I don't know. I guess you can say it's too much, but I just feel like it's about what that person can deal with. Me personally, I don't mind you being transparent. I don't need you to say, yeah, I'm out with this big booty hoe at the store. Like, I don't need all of that. But, and honestly, when I'm just dating somebody, it's very rare that I'll ask you where you are. If anything, I'll ask you what you're doing. Right. If you say you busy and you're out with a girl, I don't need you to tell me that you're out with a girl. If you're busy, suffices to me.
Right.
Like, I don't feel like I have to tell you. If you say what I'm doing and I say I'm getting dressed, I don't feel like I have to tell you that I'm getting dressed to go on a date.
Okay.
It's just that if I say I'm getting dressed and you ask where I'm going, I'm like, oh, I'm going out to get drinks. And then if you keep wanting to know, okay, now I'm going like, see what you really could do. Because now if I sit up here and say I'm going out with a man, like, do you really want to know that or not?
Right.
So it's like, I'll probably test my limit if it's that deep, but it's like,
but I've also,
for the most part, I don't need to know all that. Like,
yeah, it's just hard because I feel like when you aren't super transparent, a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, but the men that I've dealt with get the notion that you're not dating.
I mean, that's why you have to ask the questions. I feel like, and the only time I feel like you need to ask somebody if they're really talking to somebody else is if you're trying to be serious. If you're not trying to be serious, I don't really care. Then it doesn't matter. I wouldn't even ask you. But if you ask me, then I know that you probably, you know what I'm saying?
So we got two answers on Instagram. One said, first few dates, yes, because you could scare someone away. But on the flip side, it could be looked at as you are trying to be honest from the jump so you won't get any surprises later on down the line. Somebody else said there is a such thing as oversharing. You can disclose too much when you're dating in the beginning, dating seriously, engaged, and married. Everything doesn't always have to be revealed, just the necessary things that won't come back to bite you and things to progress the relationship to maturity.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Like I said, it's something that I'm learning because I'm one of them people like, don't ask if you
don't really want to know the answer.
Right, because I feel like when you ask questions, in your mind, you're saying either they're going to say this or they're going to say that. And am I okay with both of those answers? Because there's a chance that I could get either.
Right.
And I feel like if you're not okay with both of those answers, you shouldn't ask.
Yeah, like I know some people just want to be nosy, but on the other side of it, it's like, why are you asking me this? Like, do you really want to know? And if I tell you this, is this going to change your dynamic with you or anything? Like,
I think a lot of people are just trying to gauge where they stand with the person that they're dating, and that's why they ask certain questions.
I just feel like, with something like that, it's just like transparency. Yeah, it does have to come into play, but at the same time, if you know, you know. Like I don't, I just feel like it's not something.
What if you don't know?
If you don't know, I just feel like if you're not trying to be serious, don't ask the question. Yeah. If you are trying to be serious, then you can ask. But I don't feel like I don't ever go into a situation with anybody, especially a new person, under the impression that they're only talking to me.
Yeah.
So if months go past and I don't see this progressing in any way, if you're, stop being consistent, if the phone calls aren't this or that, or if I know that I'm not necessarily dating with intention, then those questions for me won't even come up.
Yeah. It's just like whatever.
Like, yeah, I'm at the point now where I am dating intentionally. So I know I want to build with somebody, be in a relationship, stuff like that. So if I notice like you want some shit where you still out here dipping funny. And do your thing, but that's not where I'm at.
Right.
So I'll remove myself before I sit up here and make it seem like you're doing something wrong.
So would you ask the questions first and then remove yourself? Or would you just catch the vibe and be like, you know what, this is not it?
When I did start dating, which was like intentionally dating, I guess you can say, which was probably like a year or two ago, I would go into it letting them know what I wanted from situations. Not necessarily from them, but this is what I'm looking for.
Right.
So I'm looking for something that can be serious if it gets there. But if 9 times out of 10, if it gets to the point where I'm noticing any real like big inconsistencies, or you want some shit, like you stop answering the phone, or you're not really doing stuff that, you did in the beginning, it's like, that should have just fall off anyway. And at that point, I just won't even give a fuck no more.
Yeah. I think what's crazy is I was in a relationship and that started to happen. And when I kind of fell back, I was like made to be the bad guy. But it's like, you're not doing ABCD when you was doing ABCD on a regular basis before.
Right.
And I feel like that's not something I had to point out to you.
Right.
Like if we ever like catch a rhythm, catch a vibe, we have a norm, and you start to drop the ball, you're dropping the ball. You know that you used to hit me up in the morning on your way to work, and for the past week you haven't hit me up at all. Like, that's not something I have to point out to you. You know you're not doing this.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but when it comes to, I think the questions and being transparent definitely has levels. And like I said, I'm starting to learn that. And I think I'm now at a point where I share just as much as
they share.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So if you're not telling me what you're doing on a day-to-day and, stuff like that, then I'm not going to do it either. And what's crazy is, I told you about this, I had somebody else talking to who I used to tell when I was coming home and stuff like that. And we kind of like started to, fizzle out. Mm. And recently I came home, like I told him I was coming home, but I didn't tell him when I got home. Right? And he's like, oh, I didn't know whether or not you came home. It's like, I told you I was coming home. Yeah, but you didn't tell me you actually made it. It's just like, okay. We didn't have a conversation. Like, I never said, I'll let you know when I land or anything like that. So it's like, why would you automatically assume that that's what I'm going to do? And his words was, that's what you normally do. And I'm like, oh, he got like comfortable with what we was doing. But it's just like, I don't feel the need to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But what's your next topic?
All right. So let me see. My other topic was, what part of our history, Black history, do you wish you learned more about in school?
I just wish I learned more about the people who like made a difference and did things. I think one of the things that we're big on is first, like the first black person to do this, first black person to do that. That's something that we really like highlight in our history. And I feel like you don't have to be the first person to do something to make it history. I feel like there's people who have done things that they might not necessarily have been the first black person to do it or the first person to do it, but it still made a difference. And I feel like we don't really highlight that. We don't really talk about that or teach that in school. So just the people, I guess the underdogs is what a lot of people would call them. People who have done things that we don't really highlight, but it still made a difference in some way. Now, granted, because I didn't learn about them, I don't know who they are, but I would be open to learning about them.
Yeah, I think I would have wanted to know more about the Black Panther Party. When I did start learning about them, I think I was actually out of high school when I started learning about them. And I'm like, why the fuck they ain't talk about these people? Like, these was like, they had it like, well, they made them seem like they were like a gang or whatever, but it was like literally people coming from all over, coming together, doing like they had like the breakfast thing for the kids in the morning time and stuff like that. Like, had their own little army. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I really was interested in that. So I wish I would have learned more about them in school. Because the fact that, like, when I got out of school and I really started, like, looking into stuff and researching stuff, it's, like, so many events. Like, even the bombing that happened with the Move 9, that happened in, like, the 80s. And that's something nobody ever talked about. I didn't learn about that. I actually learned about that from a member of my church who told me about it, and it happened right in West Philly. Yep. Like, you would think they would talk about that. Like, they didn't even talk about it.
I've met, like, some older people who were, like, around during that time. Yeah. And they talk about it, and it was definitely, like, a big thing. And we definitely didn't talk. I think, when did I learn about Move? I think I was definitely out of school. I'm pretty sure I was out of school. And like you said, I heard about it through, like, an older person telling me about it. And then that's when I started to look into it. And I was like, wow, this is, and I was in school. I think we was all in school long enough for it to be a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, hold on.
Ew. Ew. I know, right? She got it right in the nick of time. That's probably the water. Never drink water after. You got to get something with some electrolytes. She should have ate. She's hungover. Oh, close that door, child. Don't let that smell in. Yeah. Child. You need like some salsa water. Yeah.
All right, so sorry for the interruption, but I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, so we are still looking for guests. Thank you. We are still looking for guests. If you would like to be a guest, you can email us cocktails and convo with 2 S's at gmail.com, or you can DM us. Now, granted, I have had some people contact us and say they wanted to be a guest. There are some qualifications, so you have to actually watch the podcast. I feel like we get a lot of people who like contact us like, hey, I want to be on the show. But don't know what we talk about on the show, don't know what the show is about. So at least watch some episodes first, so you know what you're getting.
You don't
into.
have to watch every single episode, right? But like just
so shout out for us. What is it? 4 years now?
It's been 4 years.
I think we started 2019.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
We started the end of 2019, so we going on our 4th year. But so you don't have to go all the way back and watch all of the episodes. That's not necessary, but we do want you to, you know, follow the show, have an idea of what we do and what we talk about. I think that's really it as far as qualifications. Just have like an open mindset, have a unique perspective on certain things, possibly bring your own topics for us to talk about.
Yeah, drink suggestions. We definitely need some of those.
Even though we haven't really been drinking the past two
haven't.
episodes. But we gonna get back into those. What's my stomach?
So yeah, some drink topics. Make sure y'all have some topics. If y'all have any merch that y'all want us to wear on the show, let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
Make sure y'all following us on everything. Cocktails and Convo with 2 S's. That's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Remember, we're now on the podcast app and Spotify.
Yes, so make sure y'all check that out. Going. If y'all don't have time to watch the video, y'all can also listen to the audio now.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yep, that's about it. All right, y'all.